All right. Hello, everybody. My name's Alex Greene, and I'm sitting here with Tina Pelia, and I'm very excited to be with you here today. My name's Alex Greene. I'm based in Boulder, Colorado, in the United States. I am a TRE provider and trainer, certification trainer. TRE stands for Tension and Trauma Releasing Exercises, and that's the modality that we're going to be working with today. I'm going to be leading Tina through the process, and hopefully others will benefit from this work. A little bit about myself. I am a bodywork therapist and also a nervous system and trauma therapist working in somatic modalities. So I use TRE as one of my main tools. In addition, I use somatic experiencing developed by Peter Levine. I use internal family systems work developed by Dick Schwartz. I utilize the Safe and Sound music protocol developed by Dr. Stephen Porges, the developer of polyvagal theory, as well as some additional modalities to create, to do work with stress and trauma work with clients here in the US, but also around the world. Today, what we're going to focus on is this TRE, tension and trauma releasing exercises approach. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the background and how it began, and then we're going to work with Tina to have an example of the method. Something very interesting and unique about TRE is it's unlike many therapeutic approaches where you have a facilitator who's there with you, guiding you. Yes, we do that in TRE, but a difference is that TRE can also be a self-guided, independent practice, and that's one of the most powerful aspects of this particular work. So just to share a little bit of how it came into existence, TRE was developed by an American named Dr. David Berceli, and Dr. Berceli is still alive. He lives in Arizona, and he has sort of a unique background in the sense that he was a bodywork therapist, massage therapist in his early training. He then studied religion and a number of things at university. He then became interested in trauma relief, and he spent years living overseas doing work as a certified field traumatologist. And what that means is he would be somebody who is on the ground in conflict areas, primarily in the Middle East, but not exclusively, doing things like supporting in active violence and war conflicts. In addition, he also spent time working with people in the aftermath of a natural disaster relief, like earthquakes, hurricanes, things like this. And later in his career, he went on to study clinical social work, and also became a psychotherapist. And so the method, TRE, brings together some of his training as a bodywork therapist, and then some of his observations working in the high stress and trauma areas in the Middle East and Africa. So the short version, someday you can maybe watch a speech of Dr. Berceli explaining for himself, but a short version of his discovery was that he spent time in and around bomb shelters and things that were going on. And he made the observation that when an explosion would go off and everybody was in the bomb shelter, everybody at the same time would go into the same contraction pattern universally. And he said nobody had to think about it. It didn't matter if you were a Westerner or an African or what religion you were. Nobody had to say, okay, no one had to coordinate it. This was a reflexive response called the startle reflex, which engages a series of muscles that bring the body into protection. And this was something people didn't choose to do. This is the natural biological response to a loud, threatening situation. So he made that observation, and he found it so interesting, the reflexological aspect of how we respond to threat. Another observation he made was that some people, especially children, once the threatening situation was starting to ease, he noticed that after getting very frightened and scared, many children would go into a shivering, trembling response in their bodies. And sometimes he felt the same reaction inside of himself. He asked other people, other adults, he said, hey, do you ever have this kind of trembling or shaking after, we just got scared? And many people would say, yes, but I learned how to stop it, or I try not to let it happen because I don't want the children to know that I'm afraid. I want them to think that we're safe. And so he thought, oh, wow, very interesting that many of us seem to have this response. And the question that he asked was, could it be, is it possible, if we have a mechanism, an automatic reflex that brings us into a protective safety response, could there be a biological reflex that's purpose is to come back into relaxation and safety? And could that be what's happening with this tremor response? So he got very curious about this, and on one of his trips back to the United States, he consulted with a number of different experts in different fields, bodywork therapists, trauma therapists, this and that, even some animal researchers. And he learned that he wasn't the only one thinking about this question, and that in fact, in some other trauma modalities, people would see this trembling as a process before the person resolved their stress or PTSD. And so they were seeing it clinically in that type of a setting. And that biologists studying animal behavior in the wild also had examples where mammals under high threat responses, especially after they almost were killed, but then they escaped, maybe the predator animal was chased away, then the animals would oftentimes go through a trembling and shaking process before fully recovering and returning back to normal. One other American trauma worker, Peter Levine, who I mentioned was one of my background, the training in somatic experiencing, he was also studying this. And so we now have several modalities that recognize the tremor mechanism as a natural process on the way to the completion of the threat response in a stressful experience. So that was the origins of the work. Once he recognized that this could be a valuable thing to do, he wanted a modality that he could teach multiple people at one time, not just one-to-one therapy, but teach a group. And he also wanted something that somebody could learn for themselves and continue to practice, or practice with their friends or family or a group, even after he was no longer there. So those things came together to form the techniques that we use. You'll see today it's a very simple method. We have a warm-up process with some physical exercises. They're not very complicated, and they're just to help prepare the body for this tremor response. They're not necessary after a few times of doing the tremoring. Most people, once they find the tremor response easily in a feeling of safety, they can return to that without the preparation process that we're going to do today. But in any case, we arrived at these 7 exercises that are what we have for TRE today, and it's become a very easy tool to work with people one-on-one, which is a lot of what I do, but also this idea of bringing it to groups who can utilize it and use it for their own self-regulation process. In another video at another time, if we want to, I can go a little bit more into the theory of the autonomic nervous system and the fight, flight, and freeze response and how that works with the tremor mechanism. We could do our own topic on that, but I'd rather not concentrate on all of the theory today. Let's have our first experience of the tremor response And then for you, Tina, and anybody else who follows this video, if it's a step in the right direction, then we can continue to build on this experience for them. Anything, Tina, that you want to add or ask?
Thank you, Alex. I've been captured ever since I first laid my eyes on the website and on the videos of TRE. And in these, especially in these pressing, times in Ukraine, I would say that this technique must be taught as the way they teach us about what to do when the siren is on. It has to become something that would not only be a habit, but something that we can also turn to in terms of crisis, in terms of critical conditions, even after the war. Because you do understand that we are in a traumatic experience as a collective identity, but each and every of us did or would have their own identical crisis once the war would be called off, So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and for the rest of people in Ukraine, because as I told you before, our group of participants, when I mentioned that we got hold of TRE, professionals, they went just ballistic. They went like, okay, finally, because theory is good. Like, what we studied in universities is absolutely great, but to give us tools, to give us instruments, and especially when it comes to a very specific group of people, such as soldiers and first response people, because their understanding of verbalizing their emotions and feelings in a way is considered to be a sign of weakness. We spoke of it last time. And the physical essence, however, is put under very big pressure, and they value this, very, very much. So to build that bridge of understanding between us, the healers, and them, I'm sure TRE exercises and the technique would be accepted within a split second. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, great. And it just reminded me of one additional comment, which is that although Dr. Berselli is a psychotherapist, and he's trained in talk therapy to support trauma recovery, PTSD recovery, what he realized in some of the cultural settings that he was in was that not everybody not all groups and cultures are as familiar with psychotherapy. It might not be for some groups, they would never see a therapist, but they might share the story with a friend or a family member or with their loved ones. And he also believes that only about 10% of the world's population has, maybe even less, has access to psychotherapy and sort of meeting within the office. This kind of is a very first world kind of treatment process. And so he wanted something that could be done outside of the therapy office. When we do TRE, sometimes the story or some expression of emotion organically arises. And when that happens organically, the sharing with the people that you're with or can be a very authentic part of the healing process, but it's not essential. There's many people who go through the physical process of tremoring and they feel a restoration of their feeling in their body. They feel more restored in their presence. They might feel certainly less stress, more calm and clarity. But they didn't have the need to. They didn't need to express what was going on for them. So TRE is not always it's not a talk modality at all. Sometimes that happens organically, as I mentioned, but it's not a requirement. And that's of benefit for a lot of people as well. So, all right, well, great. So Tina, if you haven't gotten afraid yet, then let's go through the process. We'll use you as I'll lead it, and then you'll be the guinea pig, and then hopefully you'll have a good experience, and then others might be able to follow along. Does that sound good?
Absolutely, yes, sir. Yes, standing by.
One thing I want to say in advance, Tina, and I know you're suffering from a recent little bit of a neck injury. And so something I want to say to you, but to anybody else listening, is that what's important in TRE in the warming up process is that we shouldn't do anything none of this should be painful. None of it should be particularly challenging. It's not like the harder we do this, the more success we have in the tremoring. In fact, quite the opposite. Let's be gentle with ourselves during this warm-up process. That gentleness will help you be more relaxed as we approach the tremor response itself. If there's any one of these 6 preparation exercises that doesn't feel good, or we have to change it, or we have to skip it completely, that's fine. No one of these things is mission critical to the success of the tremoring. So if we just need to skip something because it doesn't feel good for your body, we'll do that. So does that make sense to you? No pain. We don't want anything that's painful. All right, good. And you're on mute, Tina, so you may want to come off mute unless there's some extra noise there.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. It's just sometimes if I move, but anyway, I totally with you 100%. And just for like a notice, yes, I am currently experiencing a pressure on a bottom of my head and the part that connects with the neck. So well, as you said, I have some diagnosis which is treatable, but in the end of the day, these exercises are not for us to get ready for summer. They're for us to get ready for life, especially under war.
Right. Very good. So today, with that pressure you're feeling, just let me know if it's feeling, oh, maybe it's a little sensitive. And I'll ask sometimes if your neck is feeling okay. So let's just stay in communication about it, and then we'll continue with the process. So the first exercise I'm going to do with you, because it's kind of a breathing and a grounding exercise, it's kind of nice for me to do too. So we're going to do this one at the same time. After that, I'm going to show you, and I want you just to watch, just to see it. And then you'll do it and I'll guide you through it. That make sense? Okay.
Gotcha. Yes.
So let's begin. Let's come up to a standing position. That's how we're going to start. And as long as you can see and hear, oh, good. And I've got a great view. That's perfect.
Likewise.
Okay, good. And you can hear me okay, Tina?
Perfect, Alex.
All right, great. So just stand in a neutral stance with a little bit of a soft bend in your knees. Feel your body weight kind of sink down into the ground. That's right. And now I'll describe this. I don't know if you'll see it from that distance, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my feet, which means I lean my body weight to one side. And now I'm on the outside edge of my left foot, and I'm on the inside arch of my right foot. It's kind of like I was skiing and I'm making a turn. And then I'll go the other way. That's exactly right. Perfect. So that's good. So stay there. Let's take a breath together, Tina. Nice big breath. Very nice. And then let's shift the weight the other way. That's good. Keep your knees a little bit soft. Let's take another breath. Big breath. Good. And then we'll come the other way. Nice slow breath. And we'll go the other.
Through the stomach, right?
Yeah, through the through the stomach. Not all. I mean, it could also be the chest. Just whatever feels like a relaxed, nice breath. Good. Let's go just a few more times. So what we're doing here, Tina, is we're waking up the nerves in the feet. Our feet have many, many nerves controlling that are linked into our nervous system, our proprioceptive system, and there's many, many joints in our ankles and feet. And so we're stimulating all that neurology in our feet right now. And then our breath is just to start to get us feeling our body and beginning the process of relaxing into what we're doing. Are you feeling okay, Tina?
Yep. Positive. Yep.
Okay, let's go one more time each direction. So one more, that's it. There. Feel those edges of your feet. Nice breath. Good. And then come the other way. This will be our last time. All right, very good. Now, give a little shake to your legs and your hands. So just give a little bit of a shake. Yeah. All right, so then Tina, you come over, watch me so you're kind of close to your screen. I'll show you and then we'll switch. So the next two movements we're going to do, we're trying to stimulate some of our leg muscles and wake them up a little bit. The first area that we're thinking about is our calf muscle here. And when we do a these next two exercises, we're trying to stimulate a little bit of fatigue. Now, when we talk about fatigue, it's not like being at the gym where we're going to have a sore muscle the next day. So we use a number system, 1 through 10. 10 would be, yeah, it's pretty tired. Maybe that would be closer to if you're at the gym getting a good workout. Today, we want to go to about a 6 or a 7, sort of the beginning of that fatigue feeling. That's enough for the muscle to be woken up. So let me show you the movement before you do it. So I'm using a chair, but it could be the wall, anything for my balance. And I'm going to do 1 foot at a time. So I'm just getting 1 foot out of the air. And then on this foot, I'm just doing a slow calf raise. And I'm stimulating this muscle. And I'm just going to do this multiple times until I get to about a 6 or 7 on that fatigue scale. I could go farther, but a 6 or 7 is all I need. And once I get there, I'm going to shake it out and then repeat on the second leg. Now, if anybody's watching that has challenging balancing on one leg or something like that, you can do this 2 legs at the same time. It will take more repetitions, but you'll be able to successfully stimulate those muscles. So let's have you try it, Tina.
Mm-hmm. Just one question. How bent or how straight my knee shall be?
Just a slight bend, bend in your knee. Yeah. Great. Perfect. Looks very good. And then Tina, once in a while, every few times, do a few more of those relaxed breaths like we did in number 1, because that's just going to signal to your body that even though you're doing an exercise, it's telling yourself that you're going to be relaxing. That's it.
Shall I pause or breathe as we were while I'm doing these exercises?
All at the same time. Yeah, you can do it all at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. Good. And are you feeling the stimulation in your muscle, Tina?
Affirmative.
Okay, good.
And I can feel that I have been very tired because I'm already, I think, on a level.
Okay, don't go too far. Just go to your limit,
This is introduction. All right.
All right, good.
Yeah.
And did you shake it out? Did you shake it?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, all right.
My arms as well, right?
Yeah, why not? Okay. All right, so watch me again. Come over to your device. I'll do the next one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this next one is similar, except now the target area is the upper leg muscle, so especially the quadricep muscle, but also some people are going to feel it on the back of the hamstrings. Most of us are going to feel it into the gluteal muscles, the hip. This one also, we can do 1 leg at a time, or we can do it both. I'm going to show it first as 1 leg at a time, and then I'll show with both. I'm using my chair again. This could be anything for balance. I'm going to stand on 1 leg. This is my working leg, I'm lifting my toes so that my weight is in the heel of my foot. And then my movement is to crouch down and to come up. And I don't have to go as far as I can, just as much as is comfortable, crouching down, returning to standing. And I'm feeling that these muscles are beginning to work. And I'm going to go to my level 7 of fatigue. Now, one thing to be a little careful of is you watch my knee, Tina. I don't really want my knee going this is not really it. See how my knee goes forward? I kind of want my knee to stay there, and it's my pelvis that goes back. That way my knee stays over my foot, which is safer for my knee joint. Once I get my number 6 or 7, I'll shake it and then repeat on the second side. If I'm going to do 2 legs at once, I just do this. Okay? So let's go ahead and have you try it.
I'm just going to do 2 legs for now because it's been a bit too much.
I love it. I love it. Good choice. Nice. Yeah, nice and slow, staying relaxed while you do it. Remember, you're not in a gym class.
No, please, no.
Check in with your breathing. Make sure you can take a nice full breath once in a while. If you go slow enough, and you might not feel this today, Tina, but if you go slow enough, you might even feel a little bit of trembling in your leg muscles, possibly. Not everybody does. But in any case, we are waking up the sensations in these big leg muscles. You're doing a great job, Tina.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I can obviously feel it because now the big muscles are in touch, the big muscles are working, and even a bit of a core. Because if you keep you have to keep your back straight, right, as you go.
Yeah, that's better. It's safer for your back. Yeah, yeah. Okay, excellent. Okay, looking good. So watch me again. So those were some stimulants. So numbers those ones were kind of fatiguing. Now we're going to do some stretches. So we're switching gears a little bit at this stage. So go ahead and watch me, and then I'll guide you through it again.
Enjoy.
Okay, so this one, I'm going to stand and I'm going to bring my legs wide enough that I feel a little bit of a stretch here. I could go wider, but I already feel a little bit of a stretch. That's all I need. It doesn't have to be the biggest exercise. My knees, I want to bend a little bit, not locked, but a little bit soft. And then from here, I'm going to lean forward, hands towards the floor, relaxed head, and I'm going to take some slow breaths, usually about 3 slow breaths in the middle. And then I'm going to bring my hands over towards one side. It could be on my knee or my ankle or my shin, wherever I can easily get to. I'm keeping my knee a little bit bent, and I'm going to take 3 slow breaths. And then I'm going to come to the other side for 3 slow breaths. Back to the middle, and I could stay right in the center, or I could reach my hands through behind me if I want to for 3 slow breaths. And then when I come up, I'm going to be kind of lazy, and I'm going to use my hands to push myself back up to standing so my back doesn't do the work. And then I'm going to shake everything out. So let me talk you through that one, Tina. And do you think that will be okay for your neck to hang forward like that? Yep. So just bring. Yep. Yeah. And then have a little bit of a soft bend in your knees.
And my feet, they're sort of direct, right? They're straight.
Yeah, they can either be straight or a little bit outward, whatever's most comfortable for your body. And then go ahead and hang forward. Soft knees, soft neck, soft jaw muscles, and work on taking some slow, deep breaths. Nice full breath. Maybe even a little bit of a sigh if you want to. And then yes, come to one side. And does your neck feel okay, Tina? Okay, good.
Affirmative.
Perfect.
I think it's better.
Excellent.
It's getting better.
Okay, there you go. Good. So relax, take some deep breaths. And then to the middle, and then you could even bring your hands through behind you and take some slow breaths here. And for anybody watching, not everybody will be as flexible as Tina. Not everybody will bring their hands all the way through like that, just so you know. I think, Tina, you must have a dance background or something. Good.
Ballet, yeah.
Ballet. Okay, so yeah, and then good. And then using your hands to come all the way up, that's perfect. All the way to standing, come back to the middle, and then give things a shake.
It's a bit of a fragile spot, but yeah, especially when you move, when you lean forward, and you literally just relax your upper body to the point where you can feel blood circulation, but you can feel every muscle just stretching, you know, just not just relaxing when you're on a chair and you're just breathing, but because of the weight and obviously gravity, it just makes much more sense to relax while you venting. Thank you.
Awesome. Good description. I love that. All right, good. So that's great. Watch me. We're going to do the next one, and then I'll guide you through it again. So,
Thanks, Annie.
So this one, now we're going to, the target area is our, what's called the iliopsoas muscle group, or the deep core. It's the muscles that cross from your lower belly down into your legs, your deep hip flexors. And additionally, some other muscles. I'm going to have my feet a little bit wider, maybe about just slightly wider than my shoulders. And then I'm going to give you a side view. So my feet are a little wider than my shoulders, a nice bend in my knees, not even just a soft bend, a kind of a deeper bend. With my hands, I'm going to bring my hands to my pelvis, not my lower back, but onto my pelvis itself, maybe as though I was going to put my hands into my jeans pockets. And then with my hands here, I'm going to press my pelvis forward, keeping a relaxed spine and a neutral neck. And the analogy I use is if you were standing in your kitchen and you had your silverware, your cutlery drawer open, and your hands were, and you had to close the silverware drawer with your hips, this kind of a feeling. And so we'll go, and you're going to feel a little bit of a sensation of stretch through here. It's not a strong feeling. And then watch for just one more moment. The neck stays neutral. The mouth opens, and you're going to take 3 belly breaths in the middle, and then guiding from your hips, you're going to turn and look over one shoulder for 3 breaths, and then you're going to turn the other way for 3 breaths back to the center. I'll lead you through it, so you don't, I'll guide you through step by step. So go ahead and, so why don't you give us a side view? That's perfect. Feet just a little bit wider than your shoulders. That it looks maybe a little wide what I see there. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yay, perfect. Nice bend in your knees. Yep. Hands to the back of your pelvis, like as though your hand, yep, that's perfect. And then use your hands to direct your pelvis forward like you're closing a drawer. Keep those knees a little bit more bent. That's right. Neutral head, just the way it is. Soft jaw, and take some deep belly breaths. Nice slow belly breath. Maybe even a little bit of a sighing sound. That's it. About 3 of those big breaths. And then use your turn your hips to one direction, and then your head will follow like you're looking over your shoulder. That's perfect. Not going too far, be sensitive to your neck, of course. And take 3 more breaths. Very nice. Yep, and then rotating the other direction for 3 more breaths. Very nice. Back to the center, and then shaking everything off. Shake off your legs, shake off your arms.
I did have a slight tremor around my hips and around my lower back.
Yeah, very good. And that's normal. And that's very normal, especially these ones that we do kind of slow and we take these deep breaths. You very often will feel kind of the beginning of a tremble in our muscles. That's common and that's good. It just tells us that your nervous system is heading in the direction that we're wanting to go. So that's great. All right, so then the last thing we're going to do before we go down to the floor is we're going to use the wall for to do a little bit of a wall sit. So I'm leaning against the wall. My feet are coming out in front, maybe about a ½ meter between my heels and the wall, sinking down a little bit, not this much, that's too far, maybe about this amount, maybe 45-degree angle. This creates a little bit of effort for these muscles. Now at the beginning, it's fine, but if I stay here, these muscles are going to start to get a little bit tired. If I reach the 6 or 7, and it's like, ooh, I'm getting a little bit tired, then I'm going to go up the wall an inch or two or a few centimeters. And and then it'll get easier again. And I'll wait here and just breathe and things like that. Then if the effort increases again, I'll go a little higher again. We're going to spend a few minutes doing this kind of mild engagement. To me, it's a little bit like marinating our legs in a mild activation. And probably you'll feel a little bit of tremor while we do it. So let's go ahead and find a place where you can lean on the wall.
Okay. Can you still see me from here?
Yep, that's great. That's great. Yep. Excellent. Exactly. Perfect. Very nice. Yep. Good. And so then I just want you to relax as much as possible. Take a few relaxing breaths, a few big breaths. Yeah. And then when your legs start to get a little bit tired, then just come up the wall a little bit higher. Good. And you may feel the kind of some sensation in your legs. They might start to get a little bit warm. That's very normal. You might start to get a little quiver or tremble in your legs. That's also very normal. That's it.
So for how long shall these exercises go? For like around a minute each, or?
Yeah, a minute or two each. This exercise, the one we're doing right now, usually it's about 3 or 4 minutes would be on average. This one we kind of we linger here because it's kind of a nice stimulation for your muscles. How are you feeling in your body right now?
Well, I'm having the warmth in my legs.
Right.
And I'm feeling how relaxed and almost carefree my upper body is.
Okay, good.
Because it's feeling, so there is a support because
Yep.
of the wall.
Yep.
I don't need to do anything. It's basically my body weight.
Right.
That is against the wall.
All right.
The main tension is on my thighs.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right. Let's take a...
Forever, but I think I'll stop. One question, sorry. My back, should it be like here, like constantly attached to the wall?
You can let it be neutral. You don't have to try to flatten out your back. Whatever's most comfortable for your spine. Yep. So going by comfort. And so I didn't show this, but let's do a part B. So stay right where you are right now, Tina. And right where you don't have, okay, that's okay. Right there. Yeah. And so just do an easy forward hang. You don't have to, just like we did before, but with your feet in a normal position. Let your body hang forward.
With the bended knees, right?
Yeah, with a bend, yep. Soft knees, just an easy hang like this. We call it like a rag doll, where there's no extra effort. Just let your head relax, let your body relax into gravity. Take a few big breaths just to help your muscles lengthen and soften. Maybe even a little bit of a sighing sound. Good. And then when you're ready, use your hands to push yourself back up to standing like we did before. That's it. Great. Good. All right. And then give things a little.
Cheers, Alex. Cheers.
Cheers. It's a TRE. All right.
Indeed.
Great. Okay. So I'm just going to, so all of this, Tina, I'm going to walk you through this. So you don't have to remember this, but I want you to see it. And I want your audience to see it. But then I'll still guide you through it. So don't worry about memorizing anything, okay?
Gotcha.
Okay, so the way we're gonna, now that the body is warmed up, we're gonna lay on the floor, and this is where we're gonna stimulate the tremor response. So I'm using a pillow just for comfort. You're welcome to use a pillow for your head. We're gonna begin just in a relaxed position. In yoga, this would be called Shavasana. And I'm going to take a minute or two just to relax, let my shoulders relax, let my body relax, take a few breaths, more or less kind of a resting position. Now, this position, this resting position, once we've started the tremor response, we can always return to this resting position whenever you want to. So while we're going through the tremoring process, if you ever want to take a break or a pause, you can always return to this, no problem. That doesn't interrupt the process. Now, the next position we're going to do is we're going to bring the feet together with the knees open, kind of I call it a loose diamond shape or kind of a butterfly position. Now, for some people, this is comfortable and relaxing. Other people, this creates a little bit of discomfort in their hip. So you may want to have some pillows, or in my case, yoga blocks. You could put this underneath your knees as a form of support. For some people, this would make it more comfortable. I'm not going to use them today because I feel comfortable without them. So we're going to spend about 1 minute in this open resting position, allowing a stretch to happen in our pelvis and legs. After we've been here for about 1 minute, I'm going to bring my feet a little closer into my body, and then I'm going to go into a bridge position. So I lift my pelvis away from the floor, my knees are still wide, and I'm going to relax here as much as I can. Taking some deep breaths, and probably my legs will get a little shaky or maybe even sway a little bit. That's fine. The more I relax, the more movement will happen in my legs. That's intentional. We're waking up more of the tremor response here. I'm going to hold this position for about a minute or two, unless I reach a number 7 of fatigue. If I reach a 7 of fatigue, I'm going to come back down, back into my resting position. And we'll take another minute here to let everything relax again after the effort from the bridge. And then in a series of increments, I'm going to be bringing my knees together. And this is how we're really going to stimulate the tremor response. So right now, my knees are completely open. This is my loose diamond shape. The first stage is to bring my knees a little bit closer together, kind of like closing the covers of a book. Usually about maybe 1 inch or 2 or 3 centimeters. I'm going to pause here for about a minute. And then I'm going to bring my knees closer together again, another 2 or 3 centimeters, pausing for a minute or two even, and then bringing my knees together a third time. As I do this process slowly, I'm going to start to feel a vibration beginning in my inner thigh muscles. So I'm starting to feel a little bit of the quiver. And then Tina, obviously I'll be guiding you through this. We're going to go slower in real life than I'm showing right now. Then after we've gone through 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 movements, then I'm going to bring my feet flat with about 6 inches between my 2 feet. Maybe that might be about 12 centimeters. And here, normally if you lay on your back like this, nothing's happening. You're just laying on your back. But because of what we stimulated in our nervous system, once you're here, your legs are going to continue to have a quivering response. That's the whole purpose of this entire set of exercises. Once we get this tremor going, we're going to work with it. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small, sometimes it's only in the legs, sometimes it's in the spine, sometimes the shoulders and hands get involved, sometimes the jaw muscles get involved. Even though we're starting it here in the legs, the process can spread to anywhere in the body, and that can be good. And it's different for everybody, and it's different on the first time you tremor versus the 10th time or the 20th time. It changes over time. So today what we're going to do is spend about 5 or 10 minutes exploring the sensations of the tremoring, because this will be your first dose, so to speak, Tina, and then we'll talk about what to do in the future. One last thing as a reminder, when we're doing it, remember, we can always take a rest. We can rest by coming back to this position, or we can rest in this position. We could even roll onto the side to take a rest. That's another possibility. If the tremoring is ever feeling a little bit scary or out of control, which is rare, but if you didn't like it for some reason, then there's kind of an emergency break that you can do. If you're not liking the feeling, you can bring your legs down, reach through the heels, bring your toes to your head, make fists with your hands, and make your muscles very stiff. If you do this for about 10 seconds, then it will stop the tremoring from happening, and I can help you with that. Again, that's very rare, but I just wanted you to see how to do that if you need to. So that's about it. The rest of it I'm going to explain as we go. So, all right, great. Okay, so go ahead and lay flat, Tina. That's right. And take a moment just to begin to let your body relax. So, and let's do a little bit of a body scan. So just noticing the way that your head and neck rests against the pillow, just bringing your attention to this area. Why don't you bring your attention to your shoulder blades and feeling the way that they touch the floor, and each of your arms, the way that they rest against the support of the ground. And then bringing your awareness to the base of your neck, where it becomes your upper spine, going between your shoulder blades, the back of your rib cage, going down to your lower back, when then it becomes your pelvis, your tailbone, and the back side of your pelvis. And then bringing your attention to the weight of your pelvis as a whole. The pelvis is kind of a big bone, a dense part of our body in the center, and just feeling its weight against being supported on the ground. And then bringing your attention into each of your legs, the bones and the muscles, and the way that they rest against the ground as well. And then why don't you bring some attention to your breathing for just a few more moments, noticing what it feels like to take a gentle inhalation, noticing what the sensation of a gentle exhalation is like. There's no right or wrong in terms of how you breathe, giving permission for your body to do whatever kind of breathing, whatever kind of relaxation feels correct for it today. And I'm just going to check in with you before we keep going. How are you feeling in your body? Are you comfortable? Are you relaxed? Are you tired? What's your feeling right now?
There's a bit of tension here.
Yeah.
That's due to the neck. It's fine. Like it's
okay.
Sometimes feel it because of hernia, but otherwise, no, all good. I can go ahead.
Okay, the position feels okay. It's not creating some strain.
No,
For,
no, negative.
all right. This is just because of your neck situation, Tina. Not everybody has to do this, but this is for you. In a gentle way, very, very slow, very, very gentle. See if you can very slowly bring your head left and right. Very softly to the left, very softly to the right. As slow as you can go without creating any strain, no strain whatsoever. Even if you have just to do a very small movement, as slow as you can go so that it's very sensitive and it's not creating any pain in your neck. That's right. And then while you're still doing that, take a few gentle breaths into your chest, using your breath to loosen up your rib cage. That's it. Very soft, very gentle. That's right. That's right. Good. And then let your head relax in the neutral position again. Okay. Are you feeling okay in your head and neck at the moment?
Yeah, it's slightly better. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So now go ahead and bring your feet together with your knees hanging wide. That's that loose diamond, open butterfly position. Yeah. Feet together, knees. That looks good. And bring your feet just slightly further down so your feet are a little away from your pelvis. That's good right there. And take a few relaxing belly breaths. All right, good. Okay, let's do 2 more breaths where you take a belly breath with a little bit of a sigh for your exhalation. So a nice slow breath in and a nice full release. That's right. One more time. All right. Okay, beautiful. Now bring your feet a little bit closer to your pelvis, your pelvic floor. Your feet, bring your feet a little bit closer in towards your pelvis. That's right. And then leave your knees wide, but lift your pelvis off the floor like a bridge position. There you go. Perfect. Exactly. And relax as much as you can so your muscles being as lazy as they can be. And if there's a little tremoring or movement or swaying, that's fine. And we'll take a few relaxing breaths here. That's great. And then you tell me if it starts to get a little challenging, like a number 7 on your fatigue scale, okay? Okay. Good. So you're doing great. And you're noticing that little tremble, right? Does that feel okay in your body?
Beautiful, yeah.
Yay. Good. Yes, it is beautiful. The beautiful tremor mechanism.
And what I love about it, it's so out of your control, out of your cognitive control.
That's right. No, it's not your conscious brain making it happen. That's absolutely correct.
Okay, I think I'm on 7 now, Alex.
Okay, take 1 belly breath and then go down. Big breath in. And then down. Perfect. And then let your knees hang wide again and just focus on relaxation. So just letting all the effort go, letting the hip joint open up, the little bit of a stretch that you're feeling, letting all those muscles that were working, letting them soften and relax. That's right. Giving yourself a little bit of a break here. That's good. All right. So then, Tina, the next thing we're going to do is step by step, we're going to close the knees. I'll give you the suggestion on when to do it, okay?
Gotcha.
All right. So leave your feet how they are, but just bring your knees a little bit upwards. Yeah, that's a good spot. So that's a good starting spot. And I just want you to pause there and relax and just notice whatever sensations are there. And you might start to notice a little bit of a vibration. You tell me when you begin to feel a little bit of a tremor or vibration in your legs. You feel it? Okay.
Yeah, oh my world, it's been Okay.
Okay, all right. So it's that's the beginning of it. So we're
It's as if like it's turbulence, you know, when you're flying.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Good. So just relax, notice the sensations. The first time we do it, it's really about just becoming familiar with kind of a little bit of a strange sensation in the body. So today, it's like we're becoming friends with the tremor response. It's like, but like when you meet somebody, you're getting to know them, and we have to find out if we think that that's a friendly person. So we want to develop a friendly relationship to this tremor response. So
That's so wicked. Love it.
all right, so come a little bit higher with your knees
Uh-huh.
now, even a little bit more. Yeah, right there.
Uh-huh.
And then just pause and relax. Make sure you're breathing. Noticing that may have even changed. It may be increased or decreased or changed the vibration.
Well, in my case, but I know that it's all very subjective and individual. My case, the tension became more frequent, but not as wide, you know.
Okay.
Like I
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah. So a little faster, but not as big of a movement. Not
Yep,
as,
yep.
yeah. Great. No problem. Good. Let's get a nice belly breath. Big breath in. Good. That's it. I see it starting to come out even a little bit
Yep.
differently now. Yeah.
And now it's getting a bit more wider.
All right, good. You're great. You're a good guinea pig, Tina. Thank you. All right, so bring your knees a little bit higher again.
Uh-huh.
Yep, that seems pretty good. Pause
Right.
there.
Here we go.
Good. That's okay. Excellent. So now we can see it's in the legs. It's even a little bit into the pelvis, or at least it was for a moment. So that's great. Your body's doing exactly the right thing. Yeah. Beautiful. Let's come one more time, a little bit higher with your knees again. Yep, there you go. Pausing there. Let's give that a little time. And it's normal for the tremoring to kind of come and go, sort of increase and then decrease, get bigger then smaller, faster than slower. Sometimes it stops and then starts again. All of that is very normal, and we don't have to control it. We're just we're finding this reflex, and then we're going to work with it in a safe way today. That's great. Good. Is it feeling okay in your body, Tita?
This is absolutely wonderful.
Okay.
And even my tension on my like left side,
Yeah.
it's fading.
Beautiful. It looks to me like you have room to come just a teeny little bit higher. So let's come up
Huh?
a little bit. That's
Right.
good. Great. And let's take a nice slow breath into the belly.
How does it move? I don't want to know how it works, but I don't want it to stop.
All
It's
right,
a,
you're doing
such an out of body experience, Alex.
yeah.
It's
All
like,
right.
yeah.
Okay. So now I think we have enough activated. So now what we're going to do is you're going to just bring your feet flat to the floor with a little bit of space in between your 2 feet, like maybe 1 or 2 fists distance. Yeah, that's it. Maybe why don't you come a little narrower with your feet, just a little.
Still trembling. Uh-huh.
Perfect. And that's exactly right. So now we're in what's called the top or the tremoring position. Everything we've done this last, 30, 45 minutes was to allow you to tremor in this position. And so now we are in the heart of the matter at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And so your job is just to sort of relax, notice the sensations, and we're going to kind of give permission to the tremor mechanism to do what it's going to do. Remembering that this is your first time experiencing it, and so we're kind of in that getting familiar with it stage. Good. Let's get a nice slow breath. Good. And just out of curiosity, Tina, what if you bring your feet just a little closer together, just a little bit? Yeah, right about there.
Not touching, right? Not touching.
Yeah,
Ah,
but
there
no,
we go. It's getting. Yeah.
perfect. Yep,
It's sort of stopped, and then as we move them closer, it's back, the tremoring.
that's right. That's right. And it's very normal for it to kind of come and go, stop and start, that especially, and then for it to go away and then start again like it just did. That's very, very
Yeah.
normal. That's great. All right, so we're going to spend somewhere between maybe between 5 and 10 minutes kind of exploring this. Are you okay with that idea?
With you, absolutely, yes, yes, Alex.
All right, good. Let's take a nice breath together, nice chest breath. That's it. That's it. That's it. All right. All right. And then what's it feel? How would you describe it right now, Tina? How would you describe the feeling?
So it's a permanent tremor with waves. So
Uh-huh.
by permanent, I mean it's permanently tremoring, shaking, but there's some rapid waves of just like a bit bigger volume, and then it goes into a smaller volume if I'm saying it right.
Great.
But it's never still. Even if it doesn't look like it's moving because my legs are not like, there are no movements, but in the muscle itself.
That's right. And sometimes it's big and everybody can see it. Other times the external movement isn't so big, but there's sort of a vibration or on the inside. And then sometimes it can go back and forth between those two things. So let's do
Yeah.
a little experiment if you're okay with it, Tina.
Yes.
Leave your feet where they are. So your feet are just going to stay exactly the same.
Uh-huh.
Bring your knees just a little bit wider, just a little bit wider, maybe there, and
And okay, we're back.
take a nice breath here. That's beautiful. And then let's come a little bit wider again, just a little bit wider. And what we're doing,
Wow.
we're just exploring subtle variations will create a change. And I'm wanting you to see that any little adjustment that we make is going to create an adjustment in how the tremoring happens. That's it. That's
Wow.
it. And this is only your first time, Tina. It's exciting in the beginning, but what's also exciting is if you do it if you do it several times per week, or if you do it as you become more experienced with it, it continues to change over time.
I can't wait to explore because this is like my head itself, I had as in physically and even emotionally.
Mhm.
My head is as clear. Well, it's getting there.
Hmm.
It's getting as clear as if I would have taken a hike now, and
Yep.
you know that feeling when you're going down already after a hike.
Right.
So you are a bit tired, but then again your body's tired, but your mind is getting a bit more lighter, sort of.
I
So
love
that
it.
is very like I'm trying to compare because this is the first time that I'm doing this, but it's not the first time that I'm feeling my mind in such a state.
Right. I love that. What a good description. And the language I would use, Tina, is that you're experiencing a down regulation of your autonomic nervous system. And so yes,
Right.
you've experienced that before when you've been hiking, when you've been dancing, when you've been on vacation, where you're coming away from the stress response. And so this is just a way a reliable way to help your body do that.
Yeah, this is beautiful. And I just tried, sorry, but I went a bit further down, just a little, just an inch. And it's there.
Yeah, you're doing awesome. So what I want to show you now, Tina, is that we can easily take a rest or a break and then we can resume it. So what I'd like you to do is come into a laying long position again so that we give a pause to your body.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, that's right. Yeah, and we're just going to take maybe about 60 seconds or a little bit longer, and we're just giving your body a break. And there's there's no disadvantage to creating what we would call an integration pause. We're letting your nervous system kind of catch up to what we've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
Can I stretch like say?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, follow your body, that's fine. Yeah, any movements, anything your body wants to do to be comfortable, give it that permission. That's right.
It somehow feels, because then again, like my muscles were active, right? So that's why I feel like stretching it a bit. I
Great.
don't know, maybe it's mental, but maybe it's physical because of a tremor.
Well, I think it's that we woke up your nervous system in the same way that when you after you've taken a nap and your body wants to stretch and things like that, we stimulated your nervous system and now your body knows what it needs to do to feel more relaxed. That's it.
Even yawning, you see, as a
Yeah.
sign of relaxation.
Yawning is very common. I have people who yawn 100 times in a session. That's totally normal. All right. If you'd like to, Tina, do you want to try a little bit more of the tremoring?
Yeah, let's do it. Or do you have time, Alex? Am I
Oh,
not
yeah,
stealing too much of your days?
no, don't worry about that. Totally okay on time. So let's try a little bit more because I want to show you that we can take a rest and then we can easily return to the tremoring again. So bring your knees up just the way bring your knees up the way that they were. Yep. And just, yeah, about there. That's fine. And then just pause and wait. Most times it'll begin again on its own. If not, we'll help it a little bit. So just be patient.
Yeah, like it's mellow, but it's slowly tremoring. Yeah.
So I'm gonna just help it a little bit. Why don't you bring your feet slightly further away from your hips, so slightly down, a little more, a little more, a little bit, yep, a little bit more, a little bit more. That's good. Yep. Pause there, take a breath, take a big breath. One more breath.
Okay, yeah, I'm feeling more tremor now.
Okay. And then that's good. So it's starting to come back. I can see it. And if you want to, you could bring your knees just slightly wider. Do you remember? I don't know what year you were born, Tina, but when I was a kid, the old TVs, they had those antennas that were like, do you remember? Did you ever know those?
Absolutely, yes, we did. We
Okay.
come from the same like manual labor sort of life. Yeah.
Okay. So if you remember, in the US, we call those rabbit ear antenna for some reason. But if you want to, you could adjust your knees just a little bit, playing with them like an antenna, and you might find the best position. There you go.
Okay.
And if you find a good spot that it feels kind of natural to let the tremoring happen, then just go ahead and allow it again. That's great. It looks very good from what I can see.
I feel like as if it became it became more, I'm looking for a word, like quicker. Yeah, more sort of immediate.
All right. Great. All right. And just because you're a little bit advanced, Tina, and because of your neck situation, I'm going to do something I would normally wait for, but this is just for you specifically. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
So let your knees just continue that, and then let's come back to your head, and let's again do the slow rolling left and right. Very soft, very, very, very soft, very, very slow. Don't create any pain or strain at all. That's right. Be very light in the feeling, soft and easy, and take a few breaths into your chest and rib cage at the same time. That's it. What I'm doing is I'm helping you loosen up your upper body in a gentle way. That's it.
I can feel it in a tremor as well.
Exactly. It'll interact with the tremor. And then let your head relax, Tina, and then just do some very small movements with your shoulders, kind of like you're just gently wiggling your shoulders, like maybe just rolling it, something kind of like you're encouraging your shoulders to loosen up a little bit. That's right. Something like that. That's it. Just a few more times. And I'm encouraging your upper body to relax a little bit. That's what we're doing right now. That's it. Yeah. Good. That's perfect. That's probably enough. And now just relax and just pay attention to the tremoring experience again.
But you see, it's really sort of, wow. Okay.
Now, you could, because your knees are getting wider, why don't you try bringing your feet a little bit wider also, just a little wider with your feet. Yep, that's it.
Now they're moving
You're a natural. You're a natural, Tina. And the thing is, most people are naturals, because this is
a definite reaction of mine. It's just the way I react to where I'm super surprised or shocked.
no, that's a perfect reaction. I love that. I love that reaction. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
All right. Now, good. Now, I don't want to overdo it today, because we don't want to do too much on the first time, because we want your body to digest it.
Yeah.
So let's come into the resting position again. We're going to start to integrate.
I don't want to.
When we hang up when we hang up the call, you can just go right back to it all on your own, because now you know how to do it.
Wow.
Good. So just give yourself a chance. Yeah, give yourself a chance to relax. Let everything relax. Give it a moment just to settle down again. And yeah, we usually like to take about a minute of just sort of stillness and quiet, letting everything relax after the tremoring.
Oh, another yawn.
That's good. And Tina, take as much time as you need. If you need more time, go ahead. But whenever you feel ready, you can come up to sitting or come to your chair, whatever feels comfortable. But no rush. You take your time.
It's incredible. Like when I was about to Zoom you, for like a good, I'd say hour and a half, I had this very intense, vivid, and expressive, if the pain can be expressive, pain, like, numbing, both numbing and pinching pain in here. Just
at the base of your skull. Yep.
Right, yeah. And it's gone.
Great. How do you feel in your energy level or your mood? Are you sleepy? Are you clear? What's your feeling?
Definitely, I'm much more awoken. Like, as in, like, I think I could go to bed now, but I also think that if I need to, I can be very focused and very clear comprehension, you know.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent. Good. Well, in terms of, again, so the normal recommendation, Tina, so once this is very familiar to the body, once you've done it a few times, then you'll know when you need it. You could do it every day. You could do it twice a day. You'll know if you want to do it for 5 minutes, or maybe you want to do it for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. You'll become the judge because you'll feel what's now. Our recommendation in the beginning is for the first few weeks to not overdo it. So the guidelines that we give, the recommendation is to do it about up to about 3 times a week and not going beyond about 15 minutes of the tremoring itself. That's once your feet become flat and your knee, that last thing that we did. Not to go more than about 15 minutes, and then not to do more than about 3 sessions per week. If you do it that way for several weeks or up to 3 or 4 weeks of practice, then your body will get used to it, and then you'll start to know, be able to judge for yourself. But we just like people to know, we don't want you to do it every day from the very beginning. For some people, that's just a little bit too much disruption for the nervous system. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Absolute sense.
And we can
even now, like in the beginning, I was like, as I stood up fine, but now I can sort of feel fatigue, that right. I would go to bed rather.
Right. Yeah, and it's really so for many people, they get a really, really good night's sleep after TRE. And some people who usually are challenged, the sleeping isn't so good, it's very common that TRE can help them get a very deep night's sleep. Hopefully that happens for you. Sometimes the opposite happens. Sometimes we do TRE and it kind of stimulates the nervous system and that's not bad. It's just there's some variation in terms of how we respond. So for your sake, I hope that it leads you to a good night's sleep. My thinking is if this is probably a good introductory video today, and if there's any sort of questions or follow-up things, we can create some additional videos, and maybe we can continue to work with your practice as it evolves. Maybe some questions will come up for you, and we can use that to continue this video series.
Absolutely, Alex. Thank you.